Hello, this is Steve, the Independent Patriot, coming to you this morning from my hometown. It's very overcast here today. And it kind of reminds me of this whole impeachment process that Adam Schiff has going on. He's cast a shadow over this impeachment process, how it's not being done properly without a vote. And all the town halls across the country, I think the Democrats have realized that their constituencies do not agree with a closed door type, impeachment process or impeachment investigation. It's not the norm, and without a vote, definitely not to standard, which has been the same throughout history, to have a vote before even starting any sort of an impeachment investigation or inquiries. So, as I said before, what we are seeing today is not an impeachment investigation, not an impeachment process. It's just one more behind-the-scenes, closed-door review that which Democrats are running, which Schiff is running, and Nancy Pelosi, and it means really nothing. It amounts to nothing, and I can't believe they'd actually think about trying to arrest someone who doesn't go or doesn't respond to this sham, this farce. It's silly, and for them to think they're serious, the Democrats, is beyond funny, actually. So actually, it's not very interesting to talk about, because there's not much there to talk about. It's much more interesting to talk about real issues out there in the world than some silly games being played in Washington. So I'd rather talk about the abortion debate going on right now, because that seems to be front and center. President Trump has talked about it, late-term abortions. He's against it, and that's wonderful. I'm glad to see. But when I was a kid, the only thing that was available at the time was condoms, and the pill was a big new thing, a big deal. Can you have the pill? Is that legal to fund the pill? Where's the who can afford the pill, and all this type of stuff? And that here they're asking people to fund the prevention of birth of children. Fine, that wasn't terrible. The condom was a lot less expensive for people to fund free condoms at your local government agency, health agency. Fine, you can now get those for free. That's not that expensive, not a big deal for the taxpayer to support those who can't seem to control themselves or don't want to, or just have much more fun, and would rather think that controlling themselves is a waste of time. Anyway, I've said in the past, it doesn't matter. This whole all the government stuff doesn't really matter, but it does matter to me. I mean, I'm of the opinion that abortion is just straight out wrong, the whole thing. And to me, it is government should not be involved in it. It entails the government funding of really genocide. From my point of view, a life is a life. A chance for a life is still a life. And I've related it in my book, which I wrote. I'm writing and editing recently. Should be coming out, I hope, before Christmas, but we'll see. I've related it to, if you have a person sitting at the table with you, and that person has an illness which could be terminal, except that you could help that person, you could cure that person, but it's very painful to you emotionally and physically. So, and you're sitting with 8 people on this table. One of them is you. One of them is this terminally ill person, older person, I would say. And do you allow passive euthanasia? Do you allow that person just to die because it's painful to you and it's emotional for you, or do you intervene and take that pain, take that sacrifice, and go ahead and help that person? Now, what if it was the entire a hall of people, thousands of people watching your actions and what you do. Does that change things? Do you now help that person because you realize everyone's watching you, and they realize that a little pain on your part will save this person's life? Now what do you do? Okay, compare that to the abortion situation. That person across the table who is terminally ill is the fetus in a womb, your womb, as a woman. You're the woman sitting across the table, and you're the woman who's having this child. And if you go ahead and take an action, which would be active euthanasia, actually, by doing an abortion, or especially an awful late-term abortion, you are now killing the chance of that fetus to live, that chance of life. You're taking away that fetus's chance of life. Just like that person across the table from you, that their chance for a future, you have taken it away. So does that make a difference? When are you doing it behind closed doors, like Adam Schiff is doing his whole thing behind closed doors with the impeachment process? The Star Chamber, very funny. Or are you going to let everyone know, hey, I'm doing abortion today. Guess what? I'm not going to take any of this pain, any of this suffering. I won't have this child. I won't have a chance to see this child when they grow up and have them come back and thank me for giving them a chance of life. And I won't allow anyone to adopt this child that I could have here, which would mean no extra cost to me the rest of my life. I don't think you do that. I really don't. If it came out like that, if it was framed in that fashion, which is I think that thought experiment I just brought out there as part of my book, is a very viable argument against all abortion, especially government-funded abortion, because now you're asking someone to fund your decision to take away a chance of life. I think government funding of any abortion should be stricken from the books. Instead, it should be government funding of folks having kids, and now it's because here's the problem. I see parents who have child after child after child, and they abort, and then I see them also having kids, and then the kids get fostered out, and they have so many kids they can't deal with it. They're just not controlling themselves. But if you bring them into a place where they are counseled, and they I don't mind providing a pill, I don't mind providing condoms, but I don't want to provide abortions as a conscientious Christian. And to force me to pay for such things is beyond my desire for compassion. I think the better way to provide compassion is to show people that you, with your actions, constantly having babies, and you're just out of control. You need to be somehow needs to bring you into a little bit more control, because you're just out there having babies and not having any way to support that child. And there is no even thought about what you're doing to your community, what you're doing to these unborn children, and it makes me sick. But then again, I'm just the independent patriot. Who am I? I just live here in my hometown of Mississippi with all these crazy conservative Christians. How dare we actually have a say? Why would anyone from New York or LA care about our point of view? So, God bless you, and have a great day. See you tomorrow.